Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So yesterday, I read this article on the Griot entitled Dallas Cowboys Dak Prescott Calls National Anthem Protest Inappropriate. I will post a link to this article in the description box so that you can read it for yourself. But this article talks about how Dak Prescott is one of the few NFL players who's actually supports the NFL's new policy about the national anthem. Basically, under that policy, players must stand for the playing of the national anthem. Those who decide not to stand during the national anthem, they can remain in the locker room. Players that decide to protest during the playing of the national anthem can face various penalties for doing so. Now, the Dallas Cowboys owner, Jerry Jones, has taken an even harsher position. He basically says that all the players on his team must stand for the playing of the national anthem. They do not have the option to go to the locker room during the playing of the national anthem. So you have this player, Dak Prescott, who's issued this statement about this whole protest issue. He said, "I don't think that's the time or the venue to do so. The game of football has always brought me such a peace." And I think it does the same for a lot of other people. People playing the game, people watching the game, and any people that have an impact on the game. So when you bring such a controversy to the stadium, to the field, to the game, it takes away. It takes away from the joy and the love that football brings a lot of people. I do exactly what I'm doing and what I stand by, whether I was wearing the star or not, whether I was playing for Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, or any other owner. I believe in what I believe in, and that's that. This article also goes on to talk about another NFL player, Malcolm Jenkins, who supports the protests. For more information on that, again, I encourage you all to read this article. Again, it's in the description box. So, as many people know, I support these protests that have been taking place during these football games, and I support it for obvious reasons. First of all, the problem of police brutality is a major problem impacting the black community. Yesterday, I did a video about a study that says that black men are 3 times more likely to be killed by police than other groups of people. This is a pervasive problem. It is a nationwide problem. It is a problem that deserves the world's attention. It deserves the nation's attention. And what better way to bring attention to this issue than to have people protest during these football games that have a large viewership? So I fully support the protests. And I condemn the NFL for the position that they have taken with respect to brother Colin Kaepernick. I don't watch any NFL games now because of their treatment of Colin Kaepernick, and I encourage the people to continue to protest by refusing to watch these NFL games, by refusing to purchase any NFL merchandise. That's what I stand by. I encourage people to protest. I support this protest. They have basically blackballed and blacklisted this brother, Colin Kaepernick, for taking a stand. They have literally crucified this brother. They have made him an example, just like how the slave master used to make examples of rebellious slaves by punishing them before the group of people so that the people would be on notice that if you stand up, you will be punished. So they have punished this brother by robbing him of his livelihood, by preventing him from signing with any team. There are people with less skills and less capabilities than the brother Colin Kaepernick that have been signed over him. So this is a deliberate attempt to blackball this brother, to make him an example, to silence the protests against police brutality. So I fully support these protests, and I encourage everyone else to support them. So that's my position on the protest. But this is what I have to say about, this guy's comments. He's basically saying that these protests are inappropriate. Well, police brutality is inappropriate. The killing of unarmed black men is inappropriate. A criminal justice system that allows these police to get away with murder, that's inappropriate. You know, this guy talked about how football brings him peace. Well, there will be no peace as long as there is no justice. As long as black people are being killed with impunity by these police, there will be no peace. And your peace will be disrupted. It will be disrupted. You know, these people that want to celebrate Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, who want to pretend like they support what this brother stood for. This brother was about no justice, no peace. This brother's, engaged in acts of civil disobedience. He was called a troublemaker. People called his actions inappropriate. They called his protest inappropriate. When in all actuality, the system of Jim Crow and segregation, that's what was inappropriate. And sometimes to create change, you must disturb the peace. To create change, you must engage in actions that are not at convenient times, that are not in convenient locations, that are in places that will shock the conscience and wake people up from their deep slumber. Black people are being killed by these police. And it's time for the American people to wake up to this reality. Every other day, there's a new victim of police brutality, a new hashtag, a new call for justice. And we have a government today, in this Trump administration that does not view this issue as a priority. These protests are even more relevant today. And it's a shame that you have a house Negro like this Dak Prescott, more concerned with pleasing his master than he is concerned about justice for his people. He reminds me of that house Negro that Malcolm X talked about, the house Negro who asked, "What's the matter, boss? We sick?" This man identifies with his master more than he identifies with his very own people. I just did a video about how the police treated Ving Rhames, pointing a gun in his brother's face, thinking that this brother broke into his own home. These NFL players, they're subjected to racial profiling as well, regardless of their status. So that's part of the reason why a lot of these players can identify with this protest against police brutality. And that brings me to another thing, this national anthem. This national anthem that people want to cherish so much. They want to love so much. And they want to say that you should honor this national anthem. You should stand for this national anthem. These people that say this don't even realize that the national anthem has racist roots in it. I will post a link to this article from The Root, and also I'll post a link from Wikipedia that talks about, a third stanza in the Star-Spangled Banner that talks about slaves. That says no refuge could save the hireling and the slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. The person who wrote the Star-Spangled Banner hated African slaves that decided to fight for the British. African slaves that in exchange for their freedom, they would fight for the British. About gloom and death for those slaves. But they don't want to tell you that part of the national anthem. They don't even sing that part of the national anthem. And on another note, when you look at the fact that African people were enslaved in this country for hundreds of years, at the same time when this guy was writing this national anthem, black people were in bondage. When he was singing about the home of the free, he wasn't singing about black people. He wasn't singing about us being free because we were enslaved at that time. How can you sing a national anthem celebrating a country that enslaved your ancestors for hundreds of years? How can you sing a national anthem and celebrate it and demand that everybody sing it when this country subjected black people to decades of Jim Crow treatment? How can you sing a national anthem when even today police are allowed to kill black men with impunity? You can't sing about the home of the free as long as those type of conditions continue to exist, as long as black people are still treated as if they are subhuman. So, I can't, condone what this guy Dak Prescott is saying or doing. This guy needs to get out of the way. If you have a problem with the protest, then just fall back and remain quiet and let those who have the courage speak out. Let those who have the courage engage in the protest. Stop doing the bidding of your slave master. Stop serving as a mouthpiece for your slave master. I mean, these kinds of people, they will tap dance, they will coon, and they will, do whatever they have to do in order to get some biscuits from the slave master. And it's a shame that you have people that have no dignity, have no integrity, have no sense of pride, and no sense of dignity or respect for themselves. Here you have all these black men being killed by police. All the names of black men. But yet you have this black man more concerned with maintaining peace on a football field than he does have concern for maintaining peace in black communities, maintaining peace of mind for black families. You can't have a peace of mind when your loved ones are being killed by these police. You can't have peace of mind anytime you have to fear being stopped by the police, anytime you think your interactions with the police will end up with you being killed. That's not peace of mind. And as long as black people have no peace, there will be no peace on these football fields. And I encourage those brothers and sisters around this country, again, to continue to boycott the NFL. I encourage those football players to continue to protest during the playing of the national anthem.